Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video we've got a trick called the fingerprint, which I found in the Card College Light book. It uses a very simple principle that I'll go into in the tutorial section straight after the performance, but I just love the premise of this trick and how the narrative actually helps disguise the method. Let's get into the performance of the fingerprint. I'm sure you've watched forensic science TV shows like CSI before, and we are going to attempt to use one of the oldest, but still one of the most important methods to find a card. So whenever we handle playing cards, we leave our fingerprints on them. So mine of course will be all over these cards, but as yet yours won't be. And so the plan is to find a card chosen by you just by your fingerprints. To start with then, I'm going to cut about 2/3 from the top of this pack and place it here, and then cut this pile in half so we have 3 roughly equal piles of cards. So this was originally the top, this was the bottom, and this was the middle of the pack. And now I'm going to ask you to take the top card from this pile and remember it. But of course I saw the cards spread out, so maybe you might think I've remembered the top card. So can you shuffle these cards first? Now I'm hoping the fingerprints you leave on the cards while you're shuffling them isn't going to make things difficult later. Okay, if you could now take a look at the top card and remember this card while I look away. Got it? Now make sure your fingerprints are all over the card, and then place it back on top of this pile. Now I want you to take what was the bottom of the pack and place it on top of your card, but again, as I saw the card when they were spread, I might have remembered the bottom card, so if you could shuffle this pile as well, and then once you've shuffled the pack, place it on top of your card. So that then just leaves us with this pile that was the middle of the pack. And now you can choose. You can either place the 2 piles on top of this remaining pile here, or you can choose to take this pile and put it on top of the other 2 piles. Okay, you're placing these 2 on top of this one. So you've touched a lot of the cards during this performance, but you've only held one card for any real amount of time. So I'm hoping we're now going to be able to detect your card using this magnifying glass. If I could just start by taking a look at your fingerprints so I know what I'm looking for. Okay, perfect. Now let's see if we can find your card. I'm not sure if you're picking this up on the camera, but these cards have quite a lot of fingerprints on them. They look like they're nearly all mine. There are some faint ones and partial ones that I think are yours, but they will be from where you shuffled the cards. I'm ideally looking for a really clear set. Ooh, like that maybe. Yes, can you see that? Up in this corner and also down here. I think this is your card. The 2 of clubs. I hope you enjoyed that performance of the fingerprint, and this then is the tutorial where I'll go through exactly how this trick works. This is a really easy one to learn. There's a very small setup needed, but from then on it's totally self-working. You need a full deck of 52 cards and also a magnifying glass just to enhance the effect, but of course your camera on a smartphone will work just as well, and it's probably more convenient. So the secret to this trick is a type of key card, which most people watching this video will know all about. For anyone who doesn't, a key card is where a magician will remember a card, usually the top or bottom card of a deck, and then use this key card to locate a card chosen by a spectator. So a really simple example would be if we remembered this 2 of diamonds on the bottom, asked the spectators to say stop as we shuffled, got them to remember the next card, and then we drop the rest of the pack on top, putting our key card right on top of their chosen card, making it easy to find their card later in the trick. This trick actually uses a sunken key card, so instead of remembering the top or bottom card, we set up a key card in the 26th position from the top of the pack before the trick starts. So for this tutorial, let's use an easy card to remember. Let's use the Ace of Spades as our key card, and we set that up in position 26 from the top, and then we're ready to begin. Now we could start with some false cuts or false shuffles, but we really don't need to, as the spectator is going to be shuffling most of the pack anyway. Now I always like to begin this trick by spreading the cards face up. This not only shows the spectators all the cards, but for anyone in the audience with some CrashMagic knowledge, it sets up the deception that we might be glimpsing the top or bottom card to do a standard key card trick. Of course, we're going to be using our sunken key card in the 26th position. At this point then, you can ask your spectator to cut off about the top 2/3 of the pack and place them to one side. They don't have to be too accurate, as long as they cut underneath the middle, and then ask them to cut that pile in half and bring it back to the other side. So I like to have them in this order, so we've got the top, the bottom, and what was the middle of the pack, and of course in this middle section is our key card, the Ace of Spades. At this point you're going to get your spectator to choose their selected card, and you're going to ask them to look at the top card here. Now straight away they're going to think, well, you've seen that top card. So at this point you can then ask them to shuffle this pile and then look at the top card, so they can be sure that there's no way that you can already know that card. Now they must of course look and remember this card, 4 of diamonds in this case, and make sure that it's clear to them that they've touched the card and put their fingerprints onto it. Once they've done that, you ask them to take the middle pile and place this on top. Again, they're going to be thinking, this is the bottom of the pack. They already know the bottom card, they're using a key card principle. So again, you then ask them to shuffle the cards at this point, and once they've shuffled, then put them on top of their chosen card. That just leaves us then with a final pile, which was the middle of the pack to start with our Ace of Spades in it. Now they can't shuffle this pack, but they can choose to put that pile on top or the other pile on top, absolutely free choice. It does make a very minor difference to how the trick works depending on which piles they put on top of which, but I'll show you. So they've put the middle pile on top, so if we spread the cards out now as we would in the performance of the trick, then as soon as we've done that, we're looking for the Ace of Spades. So in this case, because they put the middle pile on top, the Ace of Spades is up this end. Now if they'd have put the other piles on top of the middle, then the Ace of Spades would have been somewhere down here instead. And from wherever our key card is, all we need to do is count 25 cards, and that will bring us to their chosen card, in this case the 4 of diamonds. So let's count from where the Ace of Spades is. It's up here. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 brings us to their card, the 4 of diamonds. Now of course this is where the magnifying glass comes in beautifully, is that you don't want to be counting cards like that. Instead you're going to be using the magnifying glass to examine, which gives you plenty of time to accurately count the cards. Now because the key card's up at the right this time, you don't really want to restart in there and then suddenly move down the other end because it's too suspicious, but you can automatically see there's only 3 cards after the Ace of Spades, so you can count 3 in your head straight away and then use the magnifying glass to look down from the other side as if you're starting from this end and count from 4, 5, 6, examining all the cards. And because you're seemingly using the magnifying glass, as I say, it's so easy to count the cards. You don't have to rush. You can easily count them in your head without rushing or making any mistakes, and accurately find their chosen card every time. So that is the end of this video. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.